I think it's been since October since Ohio State's played a game where we weren't all on edge. That's insane. We've been on edge for 12 months almost. Not 12 months, more like 9 months.
It's a Purdue game. The Purdue game in November.
Okay, so from Indiana week on, we've been on edge. That's a lot of stress, man, for a team who won a banner. And they gotten through the Texas game, and now they have 3 weeks here of pick your score, work on your team, and just play football with it's going to be, we're going to write our stories by halftime. We're going to have our stories written by halftime. So now
Play a fun game. We're going to do a longer version
of Buckeye Talk later this week, so go listen to that wherever you find podcasts. But very quickly, young player you are interested to watch on Saturday. It can be a young player literally because he's a true freshman. It can be a young player because this is his first time in the role he's in. Everybody is included that's a young player that isn't established and not a quarterback. Stefan, go.
Yeah, I'm going to go with James Peoples. I think kind of the immediate reaction to the Texas game, I think from all three of us, was like, oh, C.J. Donaldson's this team's starting running back. C.J. Donaldson is this team's best running back. And I think Ryan Day on Tuesday was kind of like, hey, let's pump the brakes on that. Like, yes, there were games last year where Quinshon had more carries than Travion. There were games where Travion had more carries than Quinshon or just touches, the way that they were used out of the backfield as well in the passing game. And it's just like, okay, that was one game. What if there's 7 games this year where James Peoples is kind of the running back one, and then there's another 4 that C.J. Donaldson is running back one. But what I will say to that though is not just the workload that stood out, it was the production, right? C.J. Donaldson looked better than James Peoples in game 1 against Texas. Not super surprising, right? Because C.J. Donaldson's played a lot of football and he's coming into week 1 against Texas, whereas James Peoples hasn't played a lot of football. We think he's super talented, but week 1 against Texas is a tough ask, especially against that defensive front that Texas had. I think this is a good opportunity for James Peoples to kind of take a step back, take a deep breath, and kind of let the game come to him a little bit. See, how he fits into this role, how he can kind of work with this offense. Because we talked a lot earlier on another video of just how aggressive we want to see this offense with what they do with Julian Sayin. I think we're going to see some aggressiveness in the running game as well, right? I think there's going to be some opportunities for James Peoples to make a big play. It was last year against who did Quinshon have the big run against? Was it Western Michigan? Is that who they played?
Yeah, and then they got called back because of a penalty or something like that. Yeah,
and then he had like another big run like right after that. So these are the types of games where like you can kind of give a guy opportunities to get comfortable in this role, get comfortable where he is with the players around him, and kind of have a chance to, I wouldn't call it a breakout game, right? Because it's hard to have a breakout game against Grambling or in Ohio, but like a chance to like at least like mentally and like in terms of confidence have a breakout game. I think that's there for a guy like James Peoples. So the workload again. Not going to be looking too closely at that against a team like Grambling, but like what he does with that workload and kind of how he takes a step in this new role with Ohio State, I think is important. And I think Ohio State still has a ton of confidence in what James Peoples can do for this team.
They mentioned on Tuesday that there wasn't a lot of games where Travion had more than 10 carries, and he had 1,000 yards. So to your point of, it's not about how much you get the ball, it's what you do it when you have the ball. You're talking, I don't know if he can't. He might be able to have a breakout game. Travion Henderson had 300 something, well not 300, like 250 yards against Tulsa as his breakout performance. So I think when you're a young player like that, regardless of the level of the opponent, I think just having a type of game where it's kind of, I've arrived as a college football player, I think that can be outside of, because then we're gonna go, okay, now we want to see it against good teams, but you still, it's an establishing a validity that we think the player is going to be good. I think that's a good one. Andrew, a young guy you want to watch on Saturday.
Devin Sanchez. I think it is very clear that Ohio State views him as ahead of Aaron Scott on the depth chart right now. He played in the Texas game, and Aaron Scott was not really involved. I don't know if he had a defensive snap. I'd have to go check that. But like they had, and it wasn't just like a go grab somebody here. It was like Devin Sanchez was in the game in the fourth quarter, and it was 14-0 and then 14-7.
Yeah.
Like Devin Sanchez was the victim of probably one of the best 2 or 3 passes of the day by either quarterback when Arch Manning threw that like out route on the sideline or that go route or whatever that was. It was really, really nicely placed ball, but like I want to see what Devin brings to the table, because I think the way that he develops through the course of this season, whether that's week 1 to week 8 to week 15, whatever, I think that's really going to be interesting to what this cornerback depth chart is going to look like the rest of the year. Because Jermaine Matthews looked like a dude, like a first-round pick dude. And Davison Igbinosun was right there with him. Like, both of those two guys looked great. And I'm just kind of curious, like, what happens here if Devin, I'm not even going to say gets to that level in his first year. But what if Devin is the type of player to basically just say, I'm good enough to where you can't take me off the field? What happens if that development starts this week? Because they very clearly already think highly of him for having him on the field in the situations that they did. So what happens if he just looks awesome against Grambling, and then they play him the next week against Ohio, and he looks awesome, and then they say, you know what, hey, we'll give him some more snaps against Washington, and he looks awesome, and that starts this week? I'm very interested in what that looks like. So to me, Devin Sanchez and kind of what the rest of this cornerback room, which is already very good, can look like the rest of the year, I think he's kind of one of the linchpins to this, and I think he's someone that makes this whole conversation very interesting.
I think we're going to see him and Aaron a lot. I think Devin, again, because of what his background is, this is a guy from Texas who's been covering elite receivers for his entire life. It was probably more ready to be thrown into a situation like that versus a guy from Southern Ohio, even if he's been in the program a little bit longer. That was a dime package. I don't know how many more teams in Ohio State's schedule are going to play 4 wideouts as often, but if they go dime, he's an outside corner in that dime package. I'm going to go there with him. I think if you tell me about the Penn State game, he's Jermaine Matthews of last year where he's forcing himself into a rotation, fine with me. He looked pretty good to me out there, so I'm all good with it. I'm going to go in the interior because we've been hearing this guy's name for the last 14 days, and he played 3 snaps. There were 3 true freshmen to play an actual snap that wasn't just special teams, because you saw Bradley Pettijohn being on special teams. Devin Sanchez, he played 12 snaps at outside corner. Nate Roberts played 1 snap at tight end, but he was the fullback in the C.J. Donaldson touchdown. I know Stefan wants me to clarify that. And then Jarquez Carter played 3 snaps, and we've been hearing about him. I just love how the defensive tackle depth conversation has gone from the end of spring, oh no, Edric Houston and Caden McDonald can't come off the field, to the first day of practice going, see, this is why Edric Houston and Caden McDonald can't come off the field. Look at his knee. To Will Smith and Tywan Malone have come along. I thought they played quality in their reserve snaps. They like 6 guys in there if they can get there. And it sounds like Jarquez Carter has been making a push, and they put him on the field against Texas in some key moments, even if it's just heavy man package. I just want to watch Jarquez Carter out there, because the last time a guy who was rated around where Jarquez was rated, which was like in the mid 150s or something like that, and got on the field as a freshman and flashed, his name was Tyleik Williams, and he just went in the first round of the NFL draft 4 years later. And I'm wondering if Larry Johnson's found himself another hidden gem on the interior of the defensive line with Jarquez Carter. He played 3 against Texas. I think, can you give him 15 to 20 against Grambling State, where you just throw him out there? You don't probably need Edric Houston and Caden McDonald to play more than 15 for you. You probably don't need more than 15 from Will Smith and Tywan Malone. We'll see if we get an update on Jason Moore and his health status, because I think he can use these snaps as well if he's healthy. He wasn't in the boot on Saturday when he was at the game, but he wasn't dressed and he wasn't available. But Jarquez Carter, Larry Johnson said his name. Ryan Day said his name. And those are 2 guys who would not say a freshman's name if they didn't feel like he'd earned the right for them to say his name and to a microphone. Those are the guys, and we'll continue this conversation on Buckeye Talk again. This is 3 people, but we'll probably do like 9 or 12. I don't know. We'll see how long it goes. 614-350-3315. 2-week free trial. It's $3.99 after that. I messed it up. I finally messed up the bid. It never happens. I'm really good at that. Let me try this again. 614-350-3315 is a 2-week free trial, $3.99. After that, it's a good time. This is a good time to get it, too, because it's going to be a little bit more insider, real in-depth stuff, because they're not just playing Texas, and we're not just going to go team good, team bad, number 1 ranking, number 3 ranking. Steven, Stefan, Andrew, we're good. See you at the game on Saturday. Grambling State, Ohio State, inside Ohio Stadium. See ya.